Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Yeedi Cube robot vacuum system because it does have a charging station that is also a cleaning station and a self-dumping station for the trash bin that's on this robot. We'll be reviewing this unit, but also a good solid comparison of the iRobot Roomba J7 Plus right here, which uses AI camera. It has a base station that collects the dust, but it doesn't mop, and there are some differences. But the thing I wanted to compare, the reason, is because the Yeedi is $50 cheaper than the Roomba, so, and you get mopping, but is this AI recognition, world's smartest robot theory that iRobot Roomba has for the J7 Plus really greater than something that's cheaper that offers a whole lot more? We'll figure that out, and hopefully we can guide you in the right direction if you're interested in one of the two at its price point. So first off, let's just talk about power of the two. The Yeedi Cube right here, it has 4,300 pascals of suction power and a traditional brush on the bottom here. So you see the traditional brush roll here with a swivel bottom so it can keep contact with the floor and keep suction going on. This iRobot Roomba J7 Plus has rubber right here, little flaps, and this does keep suction with the floor, but it doesn't have the rubber flaps at the front and back of this thing to maintain suction, but it has an increased 6,000 pascals of suction on the iRobot and less on this, but has a better possible seal to the floor the way it's designed. The pluses and minuses of this brush setup here: get more flaps for agitation right here, so you can agitate and slap the floor with this system, which is good because it kicks up some dust and dirt from carpet and whatnot, and it's able to suck it in. And this system doesn't need as strong a suction as this one, in my opinion, because you don't have the flaps and the brushes on this to really get in there and agitate the carpet with, so you have to compensate that with a higher rate of suction to be solidly compared. And through my investigations into this, I have determined that it picks up about exactly the same. I noticed not much of a difference, but while we're talking about brushes, I will say that the Yeedi Cube, it does, in a traditional manner, collect hair through these brushes around some of the points in here where there's a laps and flaps in the middle. So there's two sections here or there that the hair gravitates to. And this is interesting because on the iRobot Roomba here, you would assume it just sucks in the hair and it doesn't get caught anywhere. No, no, no. The hair drifts down to the ends where these rubber, where it actually mounts, seats into the mounts and the sides, which are little pinholes. So the hair actually goes beyond this rubber, which is just kind of hollow rubber brush here. It goes beyond that and starts piling up on the edges. If it piles up too much, I had this happen, this right here will pop up because it's just piling up hair on the corner. So it's putting a little extra wear, which worries me on the motors, and this will pop up and still continue to go. There's no detection in here for whenever this piece is popped out and the brush is popped out. There's no sensor to stop the unit to give you a notification that, hey, go check your brush rolls because something's wrong with it. It'll just continue to go, and it'll be cocked up on one side, dragging this along, not doing anything. So if you set this on a schedule, because you start trusting this AI camera a lot, and you just set it and forget it and kind of check the dustbin periodically and don't really get in here and check this, you could have some damage here that causes more damage because you don't notice it right away. I was doing a review, so I noticed it right away. So that's just something to worry about to me. I do like the rubber brushes. Sure, it's nice to flip it over and not see anything there, but when you pull them out, it's just wadded up and collected. So both units will interact with Google, Siri, Alexa, all that kind of stuff. So you can just set it to a room and tell it to go and use your smart devices with these. The apps are different, very different. The Yeedi Cube is more of a traditional type app that you will see on LiDAR units, minus the definition that LiDAR gives you. So with LiDAR units, you have a laser disc that sits on the top, and that laser spinning and mapping out everything in real time. And you see it on the app, and it's defined exactly where it is with a line. And you can see it's perfect history of cleaning. This is a blocky color-coded area, and it kind of just, okay, I got this area and goes. But by monitoring both, and this one does it too because it doesn't have LiDAR, so it uses blocky coloring on the app to show you that it's cleaned an area. This one uses the traditional sweeping pattern that you've seen with a lot of the vacuums. This one kind of does, but then it kind of ventures off and kind of does its own thing, and it comes back and gets stuff that you thought it missed. So over time, the Roomba will get everything in the room. It just does it in an odd way. And this one does it in an orchestrated way that you can tell the path of it and where it's going. So both does the job, just very differently. This one's kind of, I haven't, been able to crack the code on the algorithm for cleaning for this thing, but this one's pretty easy to determine, and I like that better. Also, this has two rotating brushes here. This one just has one right here. I like the dual better. This one gets bogged down very easily in carpet and just doesn't turn at all. This one gets bogged down in carpet. It's not really good for medium to high carpet at all. This one can kind of do it, but sometimes it doesn't even want to make the trip up the rug. So if you've got a medium to high pile rug, like I do, this one just kind of goes on the edge of it, like I'm not going. This one will go, but sometimes it'll get stuck and just sit there and stop and give you a notification to come pick it up and move it. So I'd rather have this, honestly, where it doesn't just make the effort and fail, than this one making the effort and failing. This one sets up a little higher. This one sets up a little lower. This is better for me because it doesn't get stuck under my couch and under some furniture, where this one I had to set up a no-go area for the sofa because every time it would get under there and get stuck. So there were some growing pains with this one, but both, if you really take the time, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of constant every day, putting it through its paces to hurry up and get it kind of trained, and getting into the app and naming the locations, naming the rooms out appropriately, both will get there. This one's kind of brave with carpet, gets stuck. This one just is sensitive, so if it can't even make the adjustment up to the pile, up over the carpet, it's not even going to go, which I would prefer. As far as carpet goes in a room, not just a rug, this one does better in my opinion. This one kind of has a weird, because of those rubber rolls and not having that traditional agitation and flapping onto the carpet, it kind of sounds and looks a little boggish down, but it does it. But I have thin pile carpet throughout the house outside the rugs, and this one performs as a typical robot vacuum does. On the Yeedi Cube unit, you do have an auto lift sonic mop pad right here. There's velcros off, and you can slide, if you don't want to use a mop or something, you can slide this piece in and velcro this down after you take this off, and then you're just left with a flat piece instead of this fabric. So if you know you're going to mop once a week, you might can swap this out, but I just leave this on, and I just don't initiate the mopping sequence for a cleaning if that's the case. But you have all those options within the app. But it has an 8mm drop on this that it will mechanically lower when it gets to a hard surface, and then raise itself up 8mm to get onto carpet, which is great. It's got a 1 liter water supply here, 1.2 liter dirty water bin sump on there. So basically this unit will start out by dispensing the clean water from the top here down into the pads and unit when it's in the base station, and it will get this good and saturated. And it's got the sonic 2500 per minute on the sonic pad, which is great. And this is big plastic piece which will agitate across this pad and really clean it while it cycles some water through. And there's a sump down there which will suck up into the dirty sump. I thought, because I've traditionally had the rotary scrubbing brushes on a robot vac, that would have been the better way to go because there's more movement, there's more scrubbing. I was wrong. The sonic pad on this, after running a traditional robot rotary scrubbing mopping pads and then running this after, got so much more dirt. The water was filthy. This one blew a traditional kind of robot rotary scrubbers out of the park. So the sonic is the way to go. This unit dries at 104 degrees, and you can set that through the app at 3 hours, 4 hours, or 5 hours, something like that drying time. But the minimum drying time will get this pad dry and sanitized. And look at this. I've used this every day for like 2 months or so. I've had this, and the pad still is in great shape, so it doesn't forcefully wear the pad out, which is cool. So, and it's still just as effective as it was the first day. So I do like that. And of course, the iRobot doesn't have that at all. And on the base station for dust collection, it's this 2.1 liter dust bag. And I believe this one's only 1 liter if I'm correct with the iRobot, but all the specs and everything will be listed in the link down below. So make sure to go there to see both items for all the specs and stuff. But it has a bigger dust bin on the Yeedi Cube, which is nice because you don't have to dump it as often. So it should get you a couple months in there, month and a half with this unit. And this one's probably going to be pushing a month every time. So just so you know, smaller, but you do get two. You get a spare everything with this unit, and you do not with this. So you don't get an extra brush, you don't get an extra bag. You do get that with this. And while we're talking about this tank too, you have a handle here, a robust thick handle. I was worried about, is this thing gonna break? I would be gentle with it, I wouldn't throw it around, but you've got this handle that you can pick up, go upstairs, and then push the spot clean and let it clean the section, and then it'll finish and you just pick it up and carry it back. That's great to not have to fiddle with an app to try to get it to go someplace. Now this will go, both will go into different locations. The iRobot goes about a little differently. It has you to create a favorite spot by name of room, and then you can just hit play on that and it will go. This was more traditional where you could select a room and just have it navigate to that area and clean. So both will clean separate areas, but this one's just laid out so much better to real life, I feel like, because you're gonna most likely pick this up, carry it to a spill, turn it on, let it get the debris. When it's done, just go back, pick it up, and put it back on the space station. So the layout of this is better for I think, typical families. Now, obstacle avoidance. This one uses a room mapping camera up on the top of the unit here, where you do have home, pause and play, and spot clean buttons there. And it's got some sensors around it with like an IR sensor or something in the front here to help do some obstacle avoidance. This one's got some traditional sensors and stuff on the side, but it actually has a camera with a flashlight on the front and uses AI algorithm training and stuff to avoid obstacles. Both, believe it or not, both performed pretty close to the same. The iRobot, you can tell it's thinking, because it'll come in and see something different with its camera and just kind of pause and stop and take a little bit longer to do something. This one will just go at it, and it detects something, and it doesn't shove toys and stuff out of the way and just clobber stuff, and will actually move around it. And it did really well on mats in the bathroom. The iRobot actually bulldozed those over, even with that camera. You would think the camera would be able to tell small piece of carpet, it's probably a bathroom rug, and be a little more gentle around that with the AI that it's supposed to be the smartest on. But this one, with its more sensors in the front here, was actually a little more, I guess, gentle with things than this one. So, but this one did navigate around stuff, and it can when it's moving from room to room. It'll see something and move around it and whatnot. It does that. It does it slower than this one. But this one also isn't harsh with things when it does come in contact with them. So I think if that is what's swaying you to pay $50 more for the poop guarantee, it's not going to run over poop, go to Amazon reviews and look at those things. It runs over poop and smears it everywhere. So I wouldn't just solely rely on this AI camera to do as good as this room navigation pointing up camera and sensors around. I was surprised. This one did just as good, if not, of course, better with the rugs in the bathroom than this one. And of course, picking up debris is something that you want to know about. I did like some Cheerios type cereal, flour, and salt. Both performed identical. Both got the Cheerios. If I had to say, it got a little bit better. Probably the Roomba did. with those rubber pieces. I think it flexed and allowed enough to just suck in. With this agitation of this, it might have crushed a little bit of it, but eventually got the debris up. But this one kind of sucked up the whole pieces and didn't crush. As far as flour, it just kind of smeared it in between the tile and sucked it up about the same. The higher suction here, no agitation. The lower suction with agitation on hard floor. Picking up the flour, it did about the same. The salt, it kind of pushed it around a little bit and did pretty similar across both as well. So debris wise, the same. The added benefit, if you got some wine spots on the floor from the night before or whatever, and you run this sonic mop, it's going to take care of it. So there's an added benefit with this, with the additional mopping over the Roomba. This one does a better job of going back to the unit to dump itself and then going back to clean. This one wants to finish a job and then suck it out, which I don't like. I don't understand how they can't set this, because you can set it to return back to the station, clean the mop pads like every 10 minutes. Why can't you set this to return back to the station every 30 minutes or every 45 minutes or hour and suck out the dustbin? This one I think can detect when the dustbin is full. I believe that's what it's doing, or it's on a time basis one. But it'll go back, suck out the dustbin, and then go back and finish cleaning. This one needs to adopt the ability to set how often you want this unit to go back and empty itself, because what if it's completely full and running? You know, I don't think it has a sensor in here for the dustbin. This, as far as apps goes, this one will feel super familiar. You go through the advanced options and all that, and you can really fine tune a lot of the stuff in here. But like I said, adding in an additional time that it will go back and empty the dustbin is the only thing that's needed, I think, to make the app experience and the experience of this robot like perfect over the Roomba. The Roomba was different, which I appreciate different in the attempt at being different. This one has you set up a favorite location to be able to send those to, which was a little learning curve, not crazy, but just took a little bit to do. This one also, through the AI camera, it will ask you, if it goes through the day and it detects things in the floor, it'll ask you, is this a permanent obstacle, temporary, whatever. If you say temporary, well then this can go back and address all those temporary spots that it missed on cleaning, which is pretty cool. So like if your kids leave some stuff out, you clean the room up, you can go back and cycle through the photos that this will send you and ask you questions about, and then tell it to go back and hit all those places that you'd cleaned up and actually thoroughly clean the floor and get those spots. So that's cool. Both's unique. Both will auto update themselves and stuff like that. So I appreciate the unique approach from iRobot on their app. I haven't really been super familiar over a long course of time with Roomba. I had them back in the day, but nothing new. This one felt more traditional type. Both were easy to connect up. You get over 2,100 square feet of cleaning at on charge for this one. I believe it's 150 minutes or so of runtime. I'm not sure about this one. But like I said, everything spec-wise will be down in the description for the links. So in closing, I do believe that the Yeedi Cube is better than the iRobot Roomba J7 Plus with AI training algorithm, all that good stuff. This unit, for the money, is just more suited and will do a better job of cleaning all around. That sonic mop, the higher capacity dustbin. It's a small base station. The station's pretty small for everything that's doing. The water tank's here for that reason. This will run out through a mopping session with me, but I know that, so I will just pause it, fill up the water tank on my way walking through or something, and then get it. It doesn't bother me that it's just not a one-for-one unit of water and dirty water on the station. So, and I like the beefier height. Doesn't get stuck as easy under stuff. So yeah, so the link will be down in the YouTube description below. Make sure to explode on that subscribe button and ding that on to get notified on cool products coming your way. Hopefully I have some cool stuff like this. I thought this turned out very well. I mean, I respect both, but for the money, when you're comparing, there's kind of no comparison at this point. The Yeedi Cube is it. See ya.